Season of Discovery is vanilla wow with a spicy twist. You're going to discover new secrets as you scour the world and find class-altering abilities.
How are you all doing tonight? My name is Bigbobbedboi, and welcome. Yes, the rumors were true. I have returned. And the rumors of a WoW Classic Plus were also true, sort of. We're going to go over it, and then we're going to go over some of the other BlizzCon announcements briefly. So, yeah, Classic Plus is real, and it looks like dope shit. First, I want to go over what it is and recap all the info that's come out from BlizzCon and the subsequent interviews, so everything concrete about it. Then I want to give you some of my thoughts on it, and we'll just kind of talk about it and where I think it'll go in the future. So yeah, I said Classic Plus is real, kind of, and I said kind of for a reason, because yeah, this isn't really what most people would think of when you say Classic Plus. What they announced was Season of Discovery, which is a terrible fucking name. That kind of ties it to Season of Mastery, which was an unmitigated disaster. Shit names aside, it actually looks really promising. I'm just going to tell you right now, I am hype, but cautiously hype. Blizzard has shown many great things at BlizzCon that, well, they've turned out to be shit. The news starts out pretty good, at least. The launch date is currently slated for November 30th, which is pretty soon. That's not bad. And as is implied by the name, this is a seasonal realm, like Season of Mastery, but it's also going to be level gated by phases. So at launch, we're capped at level 25, then later level 40, level 50, and 60, giving us a pseudo endgame at these new level caps. I wouldn't be surprised if those numbers change. And they were really vague on how much time between these level caps, but they said more than a month, probably less than 3 months, so you can guess around 2 months, somewhere around there. Now, this discovery part refers to runes, and they are mostly Wrath talents like Azerite powers. It's kind of weird. So they showed being able to slot 3 of these runes in. One on hands, one on pants, and one on chest. And the runes are tied to the slots. Can't put hand runes on pants, but you can put hands in pants if you get consent. You need to discover each individual rune before you can use it. How do you discover a rune? I don't fucking know. It's a bit vague. They said they are hidden secrets. It's about adventure and exploration, and there's supposed to be hundreds of them. They also mentioned like puzzles, quests, and things being on the ground, and they're not the same for everyone. That sounds a bit shit, but it might be good. What I gather is they want to keep it vague on purpose so you can discover this shit organically, kind of like a blind playthrough of a game. To facilitate this, there is no beta or PTR. And they're supposedly going to have some other measures for data mining. So that actually will make, launch fun. And probably each new phase's launch fun as well. I am looking forward to kind of like getting out there and, going around and exploring and doing all these quests to find these runes. So, like I said, most of these runes are Wrath abilities. Hunters can get a Chimera shot or explosive shot. Shamans can have dual wield. Paladins get Divine Storm. Rogues get Mutilate. Yeah, it's a lot of Wrath stuff. But there's a lot of new things here, and even some of the Wrath abilities have been tweaked to a little bit of a degree. The most interesting are abilities that open up new roles for existing classes, so a rogue tank or a mage healer. Yes, that does sound like dope shit. Turning Feint into tease is fantastic. That is actually a really cool idea, and I'm pretty interested to try this stuff. Wowhead put up a chart showing all these new role combinations. You might notice, what the fuck, bud? Hunters are the only class locked to DPS. Why is that, you might ask? Well, as I've said before, hunters are oppressed, it's just a fact, but it's also because they're bringing in melee hunter. I shit you not, I'm doing that, obviously, and it will be beautiful. As far as like system changes go, that is all the main stuff. The only thing I'm a little fuzzy on is XP. XP gain is normal to level 25, that was confirmed. But they might buff it later, so like when the cap is 50, XP gain to level 40 is increased, but I could not find the source for that. I definitely heard it, but I couldn't find it, so yeah. And what are we going to do with all these new class changes? Raids. really small raids. The first level cap is 25, and Black Fathom Deeps is getting turned into a 10-man raid. And they're actually going to put a little bit of work into this, which already means they put more thought into it than they did Season of Mastery, so that's good, I guess. It's going to have 7 bosses, new loot, and even a world buff for some reason. 10-player cap on a 3-day lockout. This is cool, but honestly, I'm more excited for the future raids they teased. BFD is okay, I guess, but there's no way SM doesn't end up being the level 40 cap raid, right? And amazingly, they teased Karazhan Crypts, like fucking for real. There's literally zero chance that after all these years, a Karazhan Crypts raid will live up to the expectations I built up, but I am finally happy to have that as a real thing in game. It is possible some of the future raids will be different size or lockouts. They did not rule that out. Something they really stressed here was this is all experimental content. They didn't explicitly say it, but to me that means we could see all kinds of weird shit. They might even do like solo dungeons. They might take existing raids and scale them down to dungeons or 10-man dungeons. They could do pretty much anything. And the PvP, actually it looks pretty good too, but they didn't talk about it a ton. So there is going to be Warsong Gulch at launch and the other BGs will follow. And there's this new PvP event thing in Ashenvale. It doesn't sound like the existing PvP events in Silithus and Plaguelands. They described some camps and NPCs being up. It didn't sound that amazing, but the rewards could be interesting. You get Warsong Gulch rep for it. So I would expect another event in Arathi, probably with new rep items being available. And that would be kind of cool because I do love the Tabard from Exalted Arathi. And if you win, you get a world buff that you can hold on to and take into raids. It's fucking weird. I really hope they don't get out of hand with world buffs. I fucking hate world buffs. I don't mind having them, and a few is okay, but dealing with world buffs in Classic, especially on a PvP server, was like washing my hands in cat piss, and I just don't want to do that again. There was so many world buffs. You'd have to get the Dragon Slayer buff, you'd have to get ZG buff, you'd have to go get Songflower Serenade, you'd have to get Dire Maul buffs, you'd have to go to Silithus, pick up the sand and do that shit. Like there's too many, okay? They just don't do it. Or at the very least they could put that chronometer back in, but they didn't say anything about that. Breaking news. Okay, this is recorded later than everything else, kind of why I wanted to wait a few days to make this video. Important info always trickles out a few days after BlizzCon. Apparently, Blizz just fucking completely lied. Wowhead says there's a PTR build that they've been able to data mine some info from already. Although not all of this is confirmed to be in SoD, this is not a release build, obviously, but it's actually all really good. There's a bunch of new idols, librams, and totems, but they couldn't really data mine info on what they actually do. And professions are getting a lot of new items. This is really, really good. I was kind of dreading the idea of having to do engineering again. Thankfully, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. There are some raid-specific consumables that are okay, but the big thing is level 25 BOP crafted epics. These are really cool. I hope to see more of these. And then I assume they intend to continue this, so probably ones for level 40, level 50, and 60. These are really cool. They all have a unique effect. This male tanking item is really good. Probably going to be required for raid tanking. And I'm wondering if they're going to do these same effects for like level 40, level 50, and 60, or if the different level brackets will get new items. And some of the Warsong Gulch rep gear was found. It's a little lame. 5% damage and crit reduction is obviously extremely good for PvP, but it has no other stats. Maybe it's just a placeholder. I don't know. It's just kind of boring to me. And the Ashenvale specific mounts are perfect. If you don't recognize them, this is the level 60 Epic Cat before the armored versions. And it's about goddamn time we were able to get these in Classic. I still have no idea why they didn't put these in original Classic. You should have been able to get them in phase 1 and then they moved to the armored versions after that. Still pisses me off that we didn't get those. I'm hoping we'll see some of the other original epic mounts introduced this way. It is a pretty cool idea. There were also a few new runes discovered, most of them not that interesting. The ones that caught my attention were rogues getting a pistol ability, but it's actually like an item, and that's their ranged slow ability. Warriors get gladiator stance, that's really, really cool, and hunters get kings as a new aspect. What the fuck? That is shit. It says it goes on belt, so that wouldn't take up another rune slot, but it's still one aspect at a time, so you'd be losing Hawk. No. This is a bad idea. Just bake it into Hawk, if anything. And hunters might be able to tame companion pets. Weird, but okay. If this makes it in, I could see there being a few rune discoveries tied to taming obscure critters. That could potentially be fun, you know, if there aren't people running around constantly killing them to piss off hunters. It might be okay. Also, yeah, my audio isn't quite on point. For some reason, all of my audio settings got reset. I tried to fix it, and it's just not there yet. I'll work on getting that fixed for the next one. Now that covers pretty much everything that was announced and is confirmed in SoD. I am pretty hyped, but I got a few concerns. Now, I'm not a doomer over here. I'm Bigbobbedboi, okay? I've drank, I have injected, I have snorted, I have rubbed hopium all over my body all day. I'm not dooming. But yeah, there's a few concerning things here. There was a little demo some people got to play at BlizzCon. Obviously, it's not final. The game hasn't released, I know that. But none of the talent trees had any changes at all. How is that gonna fucking work? Like, Hunter needs serious changes to work in Classic. Like, serious changes. Hunter falls behind a pretty noticeable amount. Just giving me a few new abilities and saying I'm a melee hunter is not gonna cut it. I feel like we would need talents to work with those new abilities. And Hunter needs some kind of gap closer or at least intermediate ranged ability. There was a reason Survival Hunter and Retail has Harpoon and Bombs, right? I didn't go over other classes as... The fuck word did I type here? I didn't go over other classes as Throw Hourgle, okay? As Hunter, but presumably this is an issue for some of the other classes as well. And another thing with the new roles, they are saying all new roles will be competitive. That doesn't look like it with the current runes. I know there will be more runes later, but you're locked to 3 of them. Again, for Hunter, just 3 skills and I'm a melee hunter now? I'm just not sure about that. It does seem they're trying to mitigate that somewhat by making some runes affect more than one ability. So like the rogue tank rune also gives that taunt, but I mean something like a mage healer having only 3 heals, I don't know how that's going to be competitive with other healers. A 3 heal mage would be competitive in vanilla, but the other healers also get 3 runes for their other heal spells or buffs to their current heals. On the plus side, they did say they would consider altering tier sets for the new roles, so like a healer mage set, that would be kind of cool. I'm hoping some of the improvements that Hardcore got will also be here, like the debuff limit, buff limit, but they didn't say, although they did recently announce stuff like Kings and Windfury will get spread to other classes so they're not faction locked. I guess that's okay for balance, but then it also kind of means like why play Horde versus Alliance. And the final thing that is a little concerning is what are these level brackets? If they want to do these temporary level caps, I get it. There's not really any perfect levels to stop at. But what does that mean for a lot of the dungeons? If they're only going to do 1 dungeon remake per bracket, it's not a huge deal, although that would suck. I hope we get more than that for the later brackets. I'm okay with just BFD for 25. But like the level 40 bracket, it's also not a huge issue. They'll do SM almost guaranteed. It's such an iconic dungeon, and there's a lot to work with there since you have the different wings. But that means RFK, RFD, Gnomer, and Stockades are just there for leveling. Most people probably aren't going to be too miffed about that. I mean, nobody gives a shit about Stockades or Gnomer. RFD and RFK, they have some cool stuff, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. But the level 50 bracket, that kind of changes a bit. Are they going to move Maraudon up to a 50 raid, or will they move BRD down to a 50 raid? Maraudon and BRD are pretty fucking iconic. I know I would be kind of annoyed if we don't get both of those in this new raid format. But even still, that would leave Alderman, ZF, and ST behind. I think most people would be okay with that, but if they leave Maraudon or BFD behind, yeah, probably not so much. Then you get to 60 and it's like, fuck. There's so many iconic dungeons at 60, and of course you have 20-man raids, right? I'm not sure how it would be best to split these up into new raid versions and existing dungeons. Strat, Skulo, and UBRS are probably the most classic endgame dungeons, but UBRS is already kind of a 10-man raid, and they teased adding more stuff that's presumably endgame content like the Car Crypts, so maybe they don't even touch level 60 dungeons and just put in new stuff. That would actually be really cool. I like the new dungeons, and I like the idea of making some new content out of existing stuff. It really could go either way. Alright, fucking... I had to check this out for the video, but have you looked at WoW's YouTube channel recently? What the fuck is going on here? Seriously, okay? I mean, I thought the views would be higher, but whatever. Alright, views are down all across YouTube, but it happens, whatever. But what the fuck? WoW synthwave beats to chill to, and WoW lo-fi beats to chill to. Jesus Christ. Of course, they have the stupid thumbnails with people making stupid faces. God damn it, dude, have some self-respect, seriously. If you see me doing this on my channel, you can throw me in jail, I don't care. I have more respect for myself than this. Oh god, okay. I gotta close this. On to the non-SoD stuff. So, they announced Cata Classic. Who the fuck cares? It could be alright. Cata's biggest problems, I think, wouldn't be as big of an issue in Classic. They could be fixed in Classic, but there's not a lot of nostalgia for Cata. I think nostalgia is the biggest carrier for Classic and TBC and Wrath. I could be wrong here, but I really think SoD is going to be the play, not Cata. If it does okay and you guys are really interested in Cata content, I would play it. You know, I'd love to hear from you guys about this. I don't have any specific hate for Cata like I do for... They also announced 3 retail expansions at once. They want to demonstrate they aren't making shit up as they go along, and there's a real plan for the story, I guess. Okay. I used to be really into WoW lore. That might be hard for you to believe, but I really liked it. And it's been shit for a long time now. I think bringing Metzen back was a good idea. And maybe he can turn it around, but even if he could make some great new stories, that's not going to fix the gameplay of retail. If you like modern WoW now, then this is probably really great for you, because the gameplay probably isn't going to change drastically. I don't see it improving much. And the lore, which has been objectively bad, not an opinion, it's fucking bad, it will likely get better. So that's a win, I guess. And that's all I want to talk about. I'll probably do a video covering all the Hunter runes and speculate some Hunter builds pretty soon. So look forward to that. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button, like button, melee hunters, rise up button, all that other shit. I appreciate each and every one I get. I have streamed on YouTube in the past, and I will soon. Actually, I will definitely be streaming a lot of SoD. Maybe I'm getting too ambitious here, but I think I want to try getting every class to 25 just to see how I like them. That might be too ambitious, we'll see. And if there's any interest, I'll think about streaming some hardcore until SoD comes out. Let me know what you think about that. But that is going to be all for this one. I really appreciate you all watching, and I will see you all for the next one.